Political Cutz ZB Talkback, artist interviews. We cut, massage and highlight splices of our live Sunday salon broadcasts. Tēnā and welcome. Listen to Illustrator, shrine builder and street theatre extraordinaire Stephen Templar.
I've always wanted to draw pictures and be an artist ever since I can remember. I used to get told off. My dad would tell me off because I would be drawing all the time. So I used to hide. And then one day he locked me in my room and he said, "You're not," and threw in a book at me and said, "You're going to read this. You're not coming out till you read it." And it was Blockbusters, the 1960 tour of the All Black. It wasn't quite what a little 8-year-old would be really into. My dad, was a teacher, classic rugby character, Muldoon supporter and all those kind of things. And then I remember him when we were at school in Whangarei, he was like anti the Springbok tour. And, he got a lot of shit from his mates about that. So he's quite a polarised character, even though he was a Tory, a National Party guy, he still had quite left-wing views about things. Politics is tough because if you want to do something positive, an imaginative view on the world, you open yourself up to criticism, and you have to be brave. My natural optimism and, like I say, naivety combines to come together, and then you just kind of work through all these things, and then you end up doing it. I work with a great team of other illustrators and artists, and we travel around and go to lots of conferences and hui's with iwi, with government departments, and we listen to all these passionate, empowered people trying to make things better, listening to all sorts of interesting conversations, kōreros, dialogue. I always come away feeling, most of the time, not always, feeling really positive about the things that are happening. People are actually trying to do stuff. My heroes, are people like Isambard, Kingdom Brunel, engineers that did amazing things. As well as, art movements like Dada and pataphysics and stuff, ideas about creating worlds and reshaping the world we live in with our imagination. If we all stopped believing in the current reality, it would just fall apart and we could create our own new reality, and that's what I want to do with art. I think a lot of it depends on whether the people in positions of power are open to working with artists. I know there was a lot of great work in Christchurch after the quakes. All my projects are around let's create a reality that is caring and open and human. At the same time, it's quite good to have a complete stop, and because I've seen so many people out with their families walking, so many people not driving cars, connecting with each other in actually more deeper ways. And so that aspect of it for me is really positive. So I think we could change a few things coming out of this. My last exhibition was around nature kind of deities, and I guess it was from moving up here into the countryside, just slowing down a little bit, just looking around at spaces, the stories that come from space. And I've always been attracted by the sort of imagery of the Virgin Mary and that sort of mother deity figure represents. It stems back to that love of that kind of Victorian or Edwardian aesthetic of automata and box art and these kind of shrines and doing sort of beautiful, like very detailed pencil sketches, the nature and the world and the stories that they inhabit. So that brings back to the idea of everything running through all my work is that it has a narrative and it has a story, and that's how I get excited about it. When I'm painting landscapes, I like to imagine that it's a vignette, and that sort of captures my imagination, a sort of flight of fancy that I get lost in. I really like humour, and that is another big influence on my work. But it's also a sense of story, creating a visual landscape and a narrative with a deeper resonance. Wellington, 20 years. At my core, I'm an illustrator, I'm a painter, I'm an artist, in that two-dimensional form, but I really love the challenge of getting out there, experimenting with street theatre and creating characters and making people laugh. Those kind of interactive performances where they are inclusive and they get people together are really valuable. For me, one of my big ideas as an artist is the gross domestic fun. And I think this is a big overrated, we look at the GDP, we look at that balance, but I think creativity and the arts can provide an economic boost for a country because it creates, we can create a place where people want to be, they want to live, and they're actually healthy and happy. And so that's a big part of my art practice, is creating spaces and movements and communities that are actually really happy to be where they are, connecting with each other. And to me, that's a political statement.
Ngā mihi for listening. To hear more of our artist interviews, visit the Political Cutz ZB page at www.politicalcutz.co.nz.
I've got quite a bit of cricket poetry that I've been writing, so I'll read you some of that sometime.